Quincy Jones, the multi-talented music giant whose immense legacy spanned from producing Michael Jackson's landmark album, Thriller, to writing award-winning film and television scores and collaborating with Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles and hundreds of other artists, has died at the age of 91. Jones' publicist, Arnold Robinson, said he died Sunday night at his home in the Bel Air neighborhood of Los Angeles, surrounded by family. Jones was set to receive an honorary Oscar later this month. Tonight, with full but broken hearts, we must share the news of the passing of our father and brother Quincy Jones, the family said in a statement. And while this is an incredible loss for our family, we celebrate the wonderful life he lived and know there will never be another like him. Jones rose from working with gangs on Chicago's South Side to the top of show business, becoming one of the first black executives to succeed in Hollywood and amassing a stellar musical catalog that includes some of the greatest moments in American rhythm and song. For many years, there were few music enthusiasts who did not have at least one disc, including his name, or the leaders in the entertainment industry rarely have a link with him. Jones rubbed shoulders with presidents and foreign leaders, movie stars and musicians, philanthropists and business leaders. He toured with Count Basie and Lionel Hampton, arranged records for Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald, composed the soundtracks for The Roots, and, in the heat of the night, organized President Bill Clinton's first inauguration and oversaw the recording of We Are the World, a 1985 charity record to fight hunger in Africa. Lionel Richie, who co-wrote We Are the World and was one of the guest vocalists, called Jones a master orchestrator. In a career that began in an era when records were still played on 78 RPM turntables, the credit probably goes to his productions with Jackson, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, were albums that were near universal in style and appeal. Jones' versatility and imagination helped showcase Jackson's explosive talents as he rose from child star to king of pop status. On classics like Billie Jean and Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Jones and Jackson shaped a global soundscape from disco, funk, rock, pop, R&B, jazz and African chants. Thriller has some memorable touches from Jones, who enlists Eddie Van Halen for a guitar solo on the genre-blending Beat It, and Vincent Price for the chilling narration of the song's title. Thriller sold more than 20 million copies in 1983 alone, earning it the title of best-selling album of all time alongside the Eagles' Greatest Hits 1971 to 1975, among others. If the album doesn't do well, everyone says, it's the producer's fault, so if it's successful, it must be your fault, Jones said in a 2016 interview at the Library of Congress. The tracks don't just all of a sudden appear. The producer has to have the skill, experience, and ability to guide the vision to completion. The list of his honors and awards fills 18 pages in his 2001 autobiography, Q, including 27 Grammys at the time, now 28, an honorary Academy Award, now 2, and an Emmy for Roots. He also received France's Legion d'Honneur, the Rudolph Valentino Award from the Republic of Italy and a Kennedy Center tribute for his contributions to American culture. He was the subject of a 1990 documentary, Listen Up, The Lives of Quincy Jones, and a 2018 film by daughter Rashida Jones. His memoirs made him a best-selling author. Born in Chicago in 1933, Jones would cite the hymns his mother sang around the house as the first music he could remember. But he looked back sadly on his childhood, once telling Oprah Winfrey that there are two kinds of people, those who have nurturing parents or caretakers, and those who don't. There was nothing between them. Jones' mother had mental problems and was eventually committed to a psychiatric hospital, and the loss made the world seem meaningless to Quincy. He spent most of his time in Chicago on the streets, in gangs, stealing and fighting. They nailed my hands to a fence with a switchblade, he told the Associated Press in 2018, showing scars from his childhood. Music saved him. As a child, he discovered that his neighbors in Chicago had a piano and he began playing it all the time, too. When Quincy was 10, his father moved to Washington State and a nearby rec center changed his world. Jones and several of his friends burst into the kitchen and helped themselves to lemon meringue pie, when Jones noticed a small room nearby with a stage, which also had a piano on the stage. "I went there, stopped, saw, and then broke out," he wrote in his autobiography. "This is where I started finding the world. I was 11 years old. I knew it was for me. Forever." A few years later, he played trumpet and befriended a young blind musician named Ray Charles, who would become a lifelong friend. He was talented enough to win a scholarship to Berklee College of Music in Boston, but dropped out when Hampton invited him to tour with his band. Jones continued to work as an independent composer, conductor, arranger, and producer. As a teenager, he supported Billie Holiday. By the mid-1920s, he was touring with his own band. "We had the best jazz band on the planet, and yet we were literally starving," Jones later told Musician magazine. "That's when I learned there was music and there was the music industry. To survive, I had to learn the difference between the two." As a music executive, he overcame racial barriers and became vice president of Mercury Records in the early 1960s. He became the first black music director to win an Academy Award in 1971. The first film he produced, The Color Purple, was nominated for 11 Academy Awards in 1986. But to his great disappointment, there were no wins. In partnership with Time Warner, he created Quincy Jones Entertainment, which included the pop culture magazine Vibe and Quest Broadcasting. The company was sold in 1999 for $270 million. "My business philosophy has always had the same roots as my personal belief: accept talented people on their terms and treat them fairly and with respect, no matter who they are or where they come from," Jones wrote in his autobiography. He was at home in just about every form of American music, whether it was playing Sinatra's "Fly Me to the Moon" over a driving, swinging beat and moody flute, or opening the piece with Charles's powerful tenor, "In the Heat of the Night," as a solo. He's worked with jazz giants, Dizzy Gillespie, Duke Ellington, rappers, Snoop Dogg, LL Cool J, crooners, Sinatra, Tony Bennett, pop singers, Leslie Gore, and R&B stars, Chaka Khan, Queen Latifah. In We Are the World, the artists were Michael Jackson, Bob Dylan, Billy Joel, Stevie Wonder, and Bruce Springsteen. He wrote Jackson's success P.Y.T, Pretty Young, Donna Summer Love Is Controlled, The Finger of Trigger, and by Tupacicor, Kanye West, and Other Rape there was a selected song. He even wrote the song of the comedy series, Sanford and Dream. Jones was a star intermediary and manufacturer. He gave Mr. Will Smith for an important break of the popular TV program, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, produced by Jones, and thanks to Colorful Purple, he was Win-Free and Whoopi Goldberg. It was presented to the film Prisoners. Since the 1960s, he has composed over 35 film scores, notably for The Pawnbroker, In the Heat of the Night, and In Cold Blood. He called composition a multifaceted process, an abstract combination of science and soul.